been such a long time.
It's been such a long time.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. Welcome to the Human Experience Podcast. I'm Chime.
I'm Phoenix.
And today we are talking about the divinity within. Finding the divinity within.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we kind of like have a list of topics that we kind of talk about, and you and I kind of like say, which one we're going to talk about this week or whatever. So this was your choice to talk about this. So when I posed the two different topics to you, tell me why you chose this topic.
This has been really prevalent in the last couple weeks for me. And so I know that we always gauge around with our other topics around the other topic that we were talking about, but I just think we can go more in depth with finding your divinity within, because it's so there's so many levels to it. There's so many levels to finding your divinity within, especially throughout a healing journey. And it's very transformative, and I find that you switch through your process of going through your different phases of your identity, like it put a veil off of your divinity within. And sometimes you ain't know that was it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, because of the trauma or perspective. Yep.
So I'm gonna kind of backtrack a little bit. I used to be heavily in the church, not in a way like I was in the choir and all that, or my dad was a preacher, nothing like that, but just very into God, into Jesus, into the church. And so as I began to kind of go within and find those things for myself, rather than what the pastor or somebody else tells you that you're supposed to believe. I think for me, I had a hard time in the beginning, and not so much hard time where I was discussing it with anybody or anything of that nature, but more so just within myself, trying to figure out what divinity is, and how most of us, when we've been in church for so long, we have this kind of mentality that we're filthy rags, we're not worth much, we're not, God is all divine, and that we're not. And so there was a time where I had to realize that God is not outside of me, but God is in me. And the funny thing about that is that we're taught that in church, but we're taught it to a level where there's a certain level, and that's where it stops. It doesn't go all the way. It doesn't fill the cup all the way up to understanding that, you're just as much as divine as God is, and so I had to really change the way that I spoke. I had to change my thoughts about that. I had to change a lot of the rhetoric that had been kind of really programmed within me, just so that I could understand that I am a divine being. That I really am a divine being. There's so many people right now that are having the very same, issue that I had. This is why a lot of people are having problems with just spirituality in and of itself, because they've been taught that, God is the end all be all, which God is, but so are you, because you're one and the same. You come from, you're it, all those different aspects of what creation is. And so people have a hard time with that because they don't understand what divinity really is. What would you say divinity is for you, and how has it shown up in your life?
Divinity. For me, it's just being. So I read something that said, people always say connected to source or disconnected from source, but you can never really be disconnected from source. Like, you know what I mean? You always connected. You are that in which you are already that in which you seek to be. Thank you. And so for me, divinity is really just I would say alignment. Now that I have that perspective about you can't be disconnected, because even in your lower vibrational, I guess, phases or days or whatever, that's still a part of source, because it's still like lessons to learn from those lower vibrations. So for me, it'd be like, going deeper into connection with self, like, seeking God and just finding those spaces and getting clarity and understanding how I can go deeper within self to like take me to a new level. Like that's divinity for me. What about what's divinity to you?
For me, when I think about it, and I'm, always trying to break down words. So when we think about, divine, it's the shorter word of divination. It's the shorter of coming to self-dividing the self in order to get to a space of evolution. It's dividing all of those things that are in you that would need to be kind of cut out and brought forth so that you can kind of bring it to a higher level of being.
Yeah.
And so to me, I think when I think of something as divine, I think that it is from a higher level of spirit. It is the highest level of spirit. I think a lot of times when we look at ourselves, we don't think that we're higher levels of that divinity, part of that Trinity, part of that holy space, because we are taught to not look at ourselves in that way. And so we are divine. There are levels of like you kind of was saying, like there are levels to your divinity, and it starts at a particular level, and just because you're at the low end of it doesn't mean that you're not divine. You're still, it's just, people will think, here's this phone representing divinity. You have this much of it, you have half of it, and then you have the whole phone. It's still the phone. It's still the phone. Just because you only get to this particular level of charging the phone, or your half charge or whole charge, it's still the phone. And so a lot of times we don't look at ourselves as still divine. We are divine beings. We come from source. We come from that which is divine. And so how can you come from something that's divine and not be divine? I think for me, just really understanding that and knowing exactly who I am and that I'm wonderfully made.
Yeah.
With everything that is, that makes up the totality of me, that it's all divine and it's all wonderful and it's all great and it's all spiritual and it's all physical and it's all everything.
Yeah.
It's everything.
Yeah.
So.
And then understanding too, like, we all interconnected. Like, nothing is divided from self. Like, other beings, like, especially, like, what I'm saying? And I think too, like, in my experience, people see themselves different. I believe heavily in, like, whoever in your stratosphere, like, that's a reflection of you in some type of way. You know what I'm saying? Whether good or bad, whether it's your future self, past self, you know what I'm saying? Current frequency, current state. And a lot of people don't see that because I think personality gets in the way. Like, you know what I'm saying? So they look at the personality, and that's just the aspect of who the soul is. Like, that's the aspect of the body of the soul. Like, you know what I'm saying? Ultimately, if you take away the what if you take away the experiences that made the personality up and you just pay attention to soul, like, you know what I'm saying, then you will see that, like, everything is fluid in the spiritual realm. Like, just take yourself out of the physical space of it. And two, like, as far as what you were saying about we taught not to be separate from God. I wonder, like, if this is prevalent, like, within a lot of people's mindsets about feeling, because, you know, God is about confidence and courage, and you expect greatness, and, you know what I'm saying, you walking in God energy. And a lot of people might find it hard to accept that type of energy, like, you know, and because it comes off, like, do they feel worthy of stepping into that energy? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do they feel like they are arrogant because of that, or do they feel ashamed of adopting that type of, you know what I mean, energy that it takes to, I keep saying energy, but that's the only word that's coming to me, energy that it takes to walk in courage, to not walk in fear, to say that I am mighty, to expect to win, to expect to, you know what I'm saying, just to expect greatness. And does that keep you from, like, tapping into those parts of yourself? But like you said, they all go back to, how can I be from something but not be that something? Like, you know, that's not, it don't connect.
It doesn't, and it doesn't connect only because when we go back hundreds of years and during slavery, right? So we were taught that we were nothing, even though we came from, you know, our African spirituality, which we knew exactly who it is that we are. It's almost just as, like, in the army. The first thing they do when you join the army is they strip you of everything you think you know about yourself. They strip you down to the base. That's what basic training is to strip you of everything and to put in you what they want you to have. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the same thing that happens with slavery, is that we were stripped of everything, the kings, the queen status, the higher level of spirituality. We were stripped of those things, and we were told that we were nothing. We were beaten. We were all those things that happened to us in that space. We were taught to be humble. We were taught to be servants of God. You know, we were taught to be in this lowly space. And that was what I would consider the most, I don't even know what word I'm trying to say right now, but that to me was like the most programming that you can do that lasted generations. You know, generations. Our great grandmothers are dead. You know what I'm saying? They're not still here, but that lineage of what they passed down to us is that very same rhetoric that we have. You know, that I hear people all the time say, you got to be humble. What? What you mean? You know, does it mean that I'm not humble because I'm confident? You know what I'm saying? I think that people think that those two things are mutually exclusive. You can still be humble, but you can also be confident at the same time.
Most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? My being confident should not make you feel less confident. You know what I'm saying? So I think when people, they feel some kind of way when they see somebody that's confident. They'll say that they're arrogant, or they'll say that, well, you better be humble because you know what happens if you don't be humble. Well, what's wrong with me being confident in who it is that I am? I come from Source. I come from the Creator. I come from God. I come from all that is. Why can't I be confident in that? You know what I'm saying? Why can't I walk with my head up high? Why can't I act like I don't know it?
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what I know.
Why can't I?
That's what Steve, I was listening to Steve Harvey one day on the radio, and he was like, you know, just by so many energies that he take in, like, and people got a whole bunch of stuff to say about him. He's like, what, you want me to walk in the room with my head down?
Right.
You want me to walk in the room? I don't know if I can do this or not. Like, you know what I'm saying? He wouldn't be in the position that he was in to attain everything if he wasn't putting that vibration out. Like, right. You know what I'm saying? So, right. So, I don't understand, somebody get tough, don't be greedy. And so I was like, we are abundant beings. Right. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to feed people from your overflow. It's not about being greedy. It's just making sure that I'm fed in the process of feeding others around me too. Exactly. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like when it comes to, you know, confidence and being humble, I mean, you can't have courage and fear just like peace and chaos can't operate in the same space. Like, you know what I'm saying? So in order for me to get the results that I need, I have to walk in a certain frequency in order to get that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Being humble, I think that more so speaks to when you not sharing with the people around you. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you throwing it in their face, like, you know what I'm saying? Or if you thinking that your frequency is higher than anyone else's, like, that's more so speaks into where you need to be humble from when it's going to be stripped from you. Like, you know what I mean? And I think too, like, people really need to tap into just the awareness of the Hermetic principle of up, down, as above, so below. Like, you know what I'm saying? And just be prepared, because that's just life cycles. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everything that's in the up season gonna have a down season, and so to be prepared for that. And so that's not even to say if something happened, you know, I told him he need to be humble because God gonna take it away.
Right,
no.
Right.
It's gonna go like this anyway.
Right. So it doesn't matter.
So it don't matter. Like, it's coming.
Oh my God! Right. That's so true that you say that. And people be looking sometimes for that to happen so they can say, "Well, I told you so." You know what I'm saying?
It was coming in.
It was coming anyway. And if that person was truly walking in the space that they were divine to walk into, they know that and they are preparing for that anyway. So that's the thing. I think people, again, it goes back to how they're feeling in their own skin. You know what I'm saying? If they're not feeling comfortable, confident, and all these things godlike in their own skin, then they're going to have a problem with you doing that. And so the thing of it is too is that you still have to be that divine being. You know, even though people are having a problem with who you are and you considering yourself a divine being. You know what I'm saying? You still have to walk in that, because just because you think that, you know, I'm not divine, don't mean that I ain't divine. You know, and a lot of people have have issues with that, and it's hard for some people to continue on that path when they have so many people in their ear about what it is that they're doing. All I can do is wish people strength and courage to keep moving forward, because that is going to happen. It's that crab in a barrel type of thing. When people see that you're, and that ain't strictly just for a particular race or, you know, ethnicity either. That can be anybody, you know, trying to pull somebody else down because they feel like, you know, they think they're more than us. You know, you ain't more than us, or, you know, you're not divine, or you're not, you know, what you say you are. Yes, I am. And you don't even have to even address that with an answer. You could just keep on walking it in yourself. You know that you are. You know? People, we have a hard time seeing people either prosperous. We have a hard time, you know, when we're not prosperous. You know, when, you know, this is why before, remember when I was telling you why I really wanted to do this podcast, is because I wanted to help other people be able to, you know, get the knowledge and whatever wisdom, whatever we could share with them, you know, whatever we can all learn together and grow together. Because the hardest thing to do is to be in this particular space with other people around you ain't happy. You know what I'm saying? And so if we're able to help other people get to wherever it is that we are, you know, get to, you know, we all growing at the same time, or growing, you know, the goal is to grow and continuously grow. But when you have people around you that's not in that space, you can't really enjoy your own stuff. You know what I'm saying? You can't enjoy your own divinity. You can't, you know, because they're always trying to make it be something that it shouldn't be. And so this is why I wanted to begin to really talk with the masses, talk with people, about, growing and evolving and looking at yourself differently and knowing that you're divine and, knowing how to just be in your own skin, because it's so necessary.
Yeah. And so it's like, so you can ask, I remember I was in a room full of my elders, and who always went to church, who always preaching something about the Bible, who always crucifying from the Bible. And so I asked them, I was like, I've been watching y'all all my life. Like, what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm the type of person, if I'm adopt something, I wouldn't adapt for it. Mm-hmm. Like, what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because it's part of who I am. It's my truth.
Right.
So I was like, if somebody came in here and put your head on the guillotine right now and said, like, choose the gods you serve or choose life on earth, are y'all willing to die?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody said they choose life. That blew me back. Why you been going to church for these last 70, 80, 50 years? Like, what I'm saying? What do you believe in? So that right there showed me, like, to believe in God is to believe in yourself. Like, what I'm saying? As far as what you were saying about being separate from the divinity, how can you say, I believe in God, I worship God, I cherish God, I praise God.
I won't die for it.
But I ain't like
I ain't gonna die for it though.
But you dying every day in the physical by not believing in yourself, by not praising yourself, by not lifting yourself up, by not tapping into the creator within. Like, what I'm saying? Just like in the book, The Kundalini Rising said, we are the best thing for humankind is to create. We're always supposed to be in the creative process. That speaks to the feminine energy, the feminine polarity. Like, what I'm saying? If you're not creating, you're dying.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You falling into some type of program. You falling into some type of ritual. You falling into, you dying anyway. Because, like, you got to think of what vibration is that bringing you to not feel prosperous. Mm-hmm. What vibration is that bringing you, what I'm saying, to always be doubting yourself, to always be looking to somebody else for the answer, to always be depressed about, I just can't move forward, I can't seem to get past this glass ceiling. Oh, but I'm praising and thanking God, hoping and wishing. Like, that don't even make no sense. Like, no, that don't even make no sense to me. Like, you ain't walking in what you saying you believe in, you separating yourself.
And the funny part about it is, people really read the Bible, is so metaphysical. You know what I'm saying? It tells you basically, all the things to do. Like, if whatever you bind in heaven is loose. You know what I mean? All those different scriptures of what it is that they're telling you. If you're binding something up, that is your right, that is your privilege to do things here on earth and to loose things in the spiritual realm. Yeah. You have the power to do that. And people don't realize that they have a power. They always say, Jesus take the wheel. Jesus don't want to take no wheel. Jesus came here, took the wheel. If we're into that particular type of religious rhetoric, that was already done, and people will not take responsibility for nothing, including their own lives.
Yep.
They will not take responsibility for their own lives. And so it's easier to, if something ain't going right, then, of course you're not going to blame yourself. Well, God must not want me to have it. You can have anything that you want.
Yeah.
Anything that you want. Yep. And people don't, well, it ain't possible to have everything. Well, it's according to your faith.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's according to your faith. So if you don't believe it, it's not going to happen. Like, it's just not going to happen. How can you come from what is divine and not be divine? How can you?
You can't.
How can I bear children and they not have my blood running through them?
You can't.
You know what I'm saying?
You can't.
How can...
You can't.
So what would make you think that you're not the same, even in the image of, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
What would make you not believe that you don't have that very same divinity within you?
Yep.
You know?
That strength, that power, that live in you. I don't really know. Like, religion keeps us so boxed in. Like, and that's part of the problem. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just really, and then people think it's like occult knowledge. So, or it's occult knowledge and it's like blasphemous to consider yourself. And just because you said that
it is a cult only because it's hidden. The word occult means hidden. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that it's hidden, and you got to go and search for it.
They demonize it.
That's all that means.
Because they want it's really set up to keep you away from yourself, away from parts of yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? And they demonize it and they think it's blasphemous to, I guess, walk in God energy, God frequency. I don't know. It's really crazy to me.
To me, it's no different from, when you have little children. Let's say, you leave your shoes out, right? What do little children do? They go and put your shoes on, right? It's no difference from us being able to do the same thing is to put on the energy of God, because we have access to it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? A child has access to your shoes, so they're going to get in and start walking in it.
Yep.
Why wouldn't you do the same thing? Why wouldn't you allow yourself, because you have access to divine rights, you have access to higher levels of spirituality, you have access to awareness and to awaken your own sleeping self. You have access to that. So why wouldn't you do that? And the sad part about it is, you're right, like religious zealots have really just ruined it for a lot of people, and they cannot shake that space of being able to walk in their divinity versus, oh, that's blasphemous, I can't, woe is me, I gotta wait for God to give it to me, and all this other stuff. But evidently you're not reading the same Bible. Like, what's happening?
I think too, people fear the separation, because you're going to have to come into, people don't understand, like, it's seasons in your life, like, and so it's like, I think people fear being alone, because, like, in this journey, is going to come a time where you're just going to have to get with self, like you're saying, to tap into deeper parts of yourself, since you can connect with sources. Just because you're saying that I am a reflection of God doesn't mean that you consider yourself God on earth over everybody. That's not what that means at all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I think too, like, by us being conditioned and programmed to, environment, to people, when you take people, away from everything that they know, that's going to start making you question everything that you know. And so when you seeking this truth, it's going to dismantle your mind, man. You really probably going to feel crazy some days. Like, you know what I'm saying? To things that's going to get revealed to you, from things that no longer serve you. Because when you really start doing the work, when you take yourself out of that environment and you go back into those environments, sometimes you don't feel in touch with those same people, those same spaces. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it feels like, damn, don't nobody love me no more. Damn, I can't relate to my people no more. Damn, like, you know what I'm saying? And I remember when you had reached out to me, all them years ago, and I was in that space. I can't find my people. Like, I was like, I couldn't find nobody to connect with. I just was like, I'm going crazy. But it's like when the student is ready, the teacher will come. Like, you know what I'm saying? As you go through these different frequencies, you always wanting to connect with people that's on the level that you're ascending to. And so sometimes that's not always right next to you. Sometimes that is through social media. Sometimes that is through, I don't know, other instead of that one-on-one contact that you're looking for. Like, you have to be open to receiving that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It get lonely. Like, I ain't even gonna cap. It get lonely. Like, but you gotta be willing to be by yourself, and I think people fear that. Like,
Yeah. You're right, people do fear that. We are, we've been taught that we are by nature, we like to be around other people, and mostly we do, you know what I'm saying? But when it goes into that space where you really have to get with self and understand who it is that you are, why you're here, and what how you can evolve into another level, a different space of being. Most people don't want that though. Most people don't want that. They don't want that. They don't. They ain't nowhere near their radar. They want to be just
comfortable where they at.
they comfortable where they are, and sometimes that's in the club till they 60 years old.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's if it's not that particular drastic thing, maybe it's something else. I don't know, but some people just they don't want that.
Yeah.
And so this is what I have to say about this. Me and my partner was having a conversation about that, and I'm so drastic with stuff, like I really am. I think that it's really survival, not just survival of the fittest, meaning fittest of the brain, evolving and evolution and moving into, because the earth itself is evolving. And so if you're not evolving with the earth, things will happen like plagues. Things will happen like um, hurricanes and all kind of things that will happen. And you think sometimes people will ask, why did I survive over all these people? You know what I'm saying? The earth is evolving, and COVID will happen, and people will die from COVID. I'm being very it may sound crazy to some people, but if you're not ready to evolve into different levels, then you don't need to be here. For what? You know what I'm saying? And not to say that that's the only thing that will take people out, but things happen like that on a big scale because there are so many people that need to move to the next level, and when they don't, they die off. You know what I'm saying? Think about all the animals or whatever that were went extinct because they did not go to the next level. You know what I'm saying? That happens with people as well. You will be extinct. You will be extinct. I won't. You know what I'm saying? And being very confident in that. You know what I'm saying? And it sounds sometimes that sounds cocky or that sounds arrogant, but it's only because I know that I am really seeking and searching for a higher level of life. I'm seeking to get my spirit into alignment with source so that I can go to whatever next level that is whenever it's time to go to that next level. I'm sitting and I'm paying attention to my surroundings so I know that, okay, I feel like this is getting ready to come, so I need to sit down, I need to do this, or I need to learn this because I'm going to need to use this for this next level. You know what I'm saying? You have to be very you have to really be paying attention to your own life, and you can't do that if you all in boo-boo kitty face. You know what I'm saying? You can't, and you trying to be all over here. You trying to be all at the club. You trying to be, all at the concert, listening to book. Now, I'm not saying that people should not do those things. That's not what I am saying, because there is balance. But if that is your life 24/7, there's no way. There's literally no way.
And it even comes to, like, things just have to die off, man. Like, our skin dies every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you see a snake, it sheds his skin to grow every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Seasons change, the leaves fall. So why would you think, like I said, we're all interconnected, why would you think parts of you don't have to die off in order to grow? Like, and I don't know, it's gonna be times where you're going to have to be protective over the things that you let in your eyesight, your eardrum, like, you know what I'm saying, the things that you put in your body, because that disconnects you from source. And as much as I love sound, as much as I love sound, like, you know what I'm saying, I just really been thinking about that, because I've been thinking about ascension as well. And so it's like, what things are especially after the 30-day challenge where I had to like change my diet, and then I just found myself just more intuitive, more, more energy, more. So as you get into the body, more questions start, to come up, and then I found myself to saying, okay, so after this challenge, are you gonna go back to eating this? Are you gonna go back to eating that? And so I'm like, well, yeah, I don't want to look like what I just came from 30 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
So all those practices gonna have to die off. What I started shifting to was eating dead things. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like when you eat dead things, you putting that into your body, you are what you eat. So some parts of me are going to take on the energy of that dead thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you think about, and so I was like, I love salmon. I said, but at the same time, that might have to die off for me if I'm trying to go to my next level, because we are electric beings.
Yes, we
and
are.
we need to put electric foods in our body. Not saying I'm about to go pro-vegan, like, you know what I'm saying? None of that, but it's just, if you're not eating live things, how can you expect to go to that level? And so even on a deeper level, if you think about how a thing dies, like, you know what I'm saying, it traps all that in the blood. When you eat the blood, if you want to go back to the Bible, drinking Jesus' blood, like, you know what I'm saying, to be life, if you eating the blood of a cow that's been slaughtered and his neck chopped off and, like, you know what I'm saying, gutted open.
Scared.
Yeah,
all
scared.
That fear and
all
you
this.
You
ingesting all of that. Even though I thought I was doing something, like, I don't eat meat, I just eat fish. It's a hook. Going, sucking him all, like, you know what I'm saying, taking him out the life of the water. Like, all of that, he's scared, he's fearful, he about to die. All that's going in his veins is blood. And I'm putting seasoning on it, chopping it up. Like, good. And so it's like, that's gonna have to die off. And I think, like, people are afraid of change. They don't know what becoming new looks like. They don't know what it looks like for them. Like, you know what I'm saying? But in the same retrospect, if something bad happens and you in survival mode and you act out of fear and you do something that's not of yourself, you don't know how that's gonna look on that other side neither. Like, you know what I'm saying? So choose your battles. You know what I'm saying? Do you want to have control over what your new you look like, or do you, or not? And then you're gonna form into a new you anyway, but it's just gonna be on the other side of the spectrum. Like, you know what I'm saying? In the darker, not no darker light, but in a darker aspect. You know.
So I've been noticing you have not been on social media a lot lately, and I was just like, and I can tell that even when you do get on, like, there is a difference. I've been out of town a lot this past month, really. Last 30 days I've been in and out of town. I had surgery and whatever, so we haven't really connected. But from afar, I'm always watching you. You know what I'm saying? From afar, I'm always watching to make sure, you're all right or whatever. And so you haven't really been on social a lot at all. And then I'm looking at pictures like you posted, and I feel like there is another level of divinity that you have tapped into. Let's talk about it.
I'm feeling, Spirit is telling me to not give so much of myself to the world. Like, and I know that I'm so used to being on social media and posting everything I do and got a lot to say about what I feel and opinions and all that, but something just told me, like, stop. And this is a learning season for me, like, and it's also, it was it took me into, like, silence to, God, it took me into silence to really tap into myself, because the internet just seems so noisy. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it was so distracted, and I found myself I couldn't get everything that I needed by putting it on social media. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, what is that doing? What is that serving? You getting it out of you, you know what I'm saying? But then you giving you leaving it open for people to tap into that, but really that's not even what I was looking for in the first place. And you find yourself in debates, and you find yourself, like, you know what I'm saying, people feeling some type of way about what you said, and you feel the energy from that, and like, I'm like, I ain't really looking for validation from them anyway.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just something I do because it's on my brain, and that's an outlet, but that kept me from, like, going within. So I just started journaling. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like everything that I put on there, because my whole thing is like, at the end of the day, people don't care no way. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Totally. Not one bit.
So all of that I'm putting like on there, I can now internalize, and I can go and I can, you know what I'm saying? Journaling is just, it just hits you different. Like, you know what I mean? I've been going through a lot of identity shifts. You know, and so it's like I really had to disconnect to quiet the noise, and so it's like your output now, my output now, I was like, damn, I just can't hear. Like, it's been like it's been like a battle. I'm like, let me say something. I'm gonna shoot up here, like, like little stuff to just meet people where they at. Like, you know what I'm saying, just to stay. I don't know, because we got the podcast, you know, I have to be some type of interaction, you know what I'm saying, so that I can stay in touch with the people, but really it's just like, I don't even, not saying I don't love my people, I always want to stay connected to my loved ones, don't get me wrong when I say this, but I just, right now, it's just like, I don't even care about being tapped in, because it's not feeding me no way. Like, you know what I'm saying? So the longer I stayed away from it, so like you would go and you would scroll up your timeline, you got so many emotions. You crying from somebody dying, you happy because somebody got married, somebody had a baby, somebody got shot in the head. You know what I'm saying? Somebody mad, somebody's girlfriend just made them happy. Like, it's so many emotions on the time. I'm like, oh, this is frivolous shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? That I just consume my time with for what? When I could be taking that energy and listening to something that's gonna take me some information on a YouTube, or you know what I'm saying, or read a book, or create something that's gonna take me to my next level.
Right.
That's what I've been with. It's been like a tug of war, because I'm so used to being on there, like, but something right now just said, don't give so much of yourself to people. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think too, like, your actions. Like, you know what I'm saying, when we were speaking about like Divinity, when you was saying like, you know, you think you this, you think you that. Numbers don't lie, just like results don't lie. Like, you know what I'm saying? The results of the energy that you putting out, if you see somebody walking in that energy and you can't tell them that they not what they think they are, if they're producing, like, you know what I'm saying? For real. Like, seriously. So it's like, what is it to talk about? Because I just found myself, like, I can go read something and I can, you know, put it out there, but if you're not in the space to receive that, I'm just talking to be talking. Like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't targeted with my, like, you ain't targeted with your energy. And so you come to a space like, okay, well, let me get a little bit more targeted in who I'm talking to. Because right now I'm just throwing it out because you're excited to learn it. You're excited of becoming. You're excited, like, you know what I'm saying? You just want to let people know that it's possible. But then you just get to a space to where you just realize that they don't care.
They don't care. They don't care.
They don't care. Like, you know, and you put what's for, but, Wendell told me to tell you something too. He said he see you, he hear you, he be reading your content, he be, whatever y'all be going back and forth, and he was like, she be talking that shit. So he was like, I'm glad you connected with her or whatever. I was like, yeah, let's travel, whatever. Yeah, for sure. And so, you know, when you drop those seeds, you know, it's going to be who was for. You know what I'm saying? I'm just in a season right now to where I just got to disconnect because it was distracting me. You know what I'm saying? For where I needed to go, like, within, but it ain't the same for me right now.
Yeah. And that's good. What, if any, when did you know that you were divine?
I want to say 20, I'm still thought that's really good. like 20. I started really getting into it about 2015. About 2015. That's when I had my first. Like I feel like my awakening was starting.
Really?
Yeah. Because I could just somebody had told me. They was like, "Well, will you talk to God with me? Because he seems to be listening to you." God don't listen to me. And so I was like, "What you mean? God do hear you?" Like, you know what I'm saying? But they was just like, "You just, I don't know. It's like you just whatever you think, you just if it's not created, you go create it. You just go for it. You ain't got no fear around it." I'm like, "Well, why should I?" I'm like, "It's in me. Like, just go do it." Like, right. And so I started, I guess, paying attention to that because my own conversation, I just really don't operate in fear. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I know that, like, when I read the Bible or when I see other people that's, like, confident, like, I'm attracted to that. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what my attraction is. And even, like, with dealing with people that was in relationships, I found myself irritated because of the lack of confidence. Or I found myself irritated at the stagnation. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, I don't really have time to baby this energy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's going to end up keeping me stifled myself. Yeah. So, so it's like damn. And so then I had to start separating the animalistic attraction from the divine connection. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, it ain't no divine connection. We just kind of like down here with our shit. Right. And so then I started thinking about, okay, well, if you exchanging, like, are you taking like some of that in? Because some days I wake up and I wouldn't be feeling of myself. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'll do my yoga, I'll do my prayer, I'll do my meditation, I'm eating my foods, you know what I'm saying? I'm charged up. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but when I wake up, I'm depressed. Or wake up, I'm mad. But I'm like, who did you have sex with? Who did you know what I'm saying, exchange with? And so I even had to start, my baby girl, what's on your mind? Like, you know what I'm saying? What you doing? Like, how you handle yourself? Because that really do go into how you showing up in the world. So, I, like, my divinity started.
Transfer of energy.
Yeah. And the more you tap into it, the more protective it get. It go from, like, if you see a big circle, it just come down to a point. Like, it gets very fucking accurate on, and and then you get to a point to where, like we were just talking about earlier, getting out of the world. Like you said, you know, you ain't saying don't go to the club, don't do all that, but then when you go in there, just like you was telling me before we started, you feel energy. You can't even put yourself in them spaces no more. It don't even feed you the same. And then you just find yourself, I want to go be in the house. I want to go home. We'll be away from people. Yeah, like, it get like that.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, in 2005, I believe my awakening was starting to happen. And then I did something totally the opposite of what was happening. Mm-hmm. I distinctly, I had an accident. Somebody ran over me, and I had to literally sit for 3 months, literally by myself, like literally. And if I tell you, my moods was like this, just up and down, up and down, up and down. You know, you realize, you know, for me at that particular point, I was realizing that all the things that I had done, everything that I had put out into the universe, everything that came back to me, I was thinking about everything that I could possibly think of. Like everything. And it wasn't because I really wanted to. Mm-hmm. These things are just really what was coming up for me at that particular time. And I remember there was a trip that was already paid for before this had happened. So I got to a space that I was okay, like I could walk with my boot on. Mm-hmm. And so we were actually going to what is it? Not Six Flags. What is it? Cedar Point. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, there's gonna be a lot of walking. So I'm gonna sit my behind down somewhere, But on the way there, I was sitting, we're riding a bus there. It's a bunch of people. I was sitting in a seat by myself, and I was looking out the window, and I just kept getting overwhelmed. And I was hoping that people did not see me, because tears was literally just falling from my face. I was just getting overwhelmed by like the love, like love. You know what I mean? Not from anybody in there, but just love itself. And tears just was flowing, and I was thinking about how just literally looking at nature as we were driving by. And I remember thinking about just how beautiful life is, and how any direction of what that person ran over me, instead of hitting my foot, you know, and messing up my foot, anything else could have happened. I could have literally have died. And so I began to really just really delve deep within myself. And a lot of stuff came up for me. A lot of stuff came up for me. After that particular situation, I was a totally different person. Totally different person. Even though I was a totally different person, there were certain things that I wanted within my life that was still kind of superficial. And here I was given, you know, something. I wasn't given something. This is what I took. And that thing, as time was going on, that relationship, as time was going on, I felt like I was so stagnant, and like I'm too old for this. Like I'm just too old for this. Like I've got to move forward. If I don't move forward at this point right now, this is going to be the rest of my life. And it was just that, like it had to be now. It had to be now. If you don't move now, you are going to be in this space. And I just kept thinking about that, and I had to, and as I was thinking about that, then certain other things that was happening for me, like stuff was opening up for me, and it was just a beautiful space. And so I'm no longer there where I was, and ever since then I've been like climbing this ladder. You know what I mean? Like climbing this ladder and getting information that I needed, you know, and being able to just evolve in different ways. And this has been amazing, actually. It's been amazing. It's been amazing, and then too, it's been hard at the same time. It's been amazing, but it has been hard. My partner and I were talking the other day, and we were doing the and. Have you ever heard that game, the and game? So in the and game, you and your partner, like, you ask questions, and you know, you answer, and then your partner answers as well, or your partner answers and you answer. And so I think one of the questions was like, what do you love about me most? And what she said was that no matter how hard it is for you to change, you keep trying to change. Like if it's something that you know that is not like benefiting you, although it may be hard for you, you won't dig in. She said you're so persistent, and I love that about you.
That's what's
up. And that's too because I recognize who it is that I am. So if certain things are not, and you're always to a state where you're trying to let go of some things, because sometimes you don't even know what it is that you're holding on to. You know, until something major like happens, and you go, oh my God, I've been holding on to that. That's why my hand's so tight. You know what I mean? Or whatever else. But it is a great thing to realize your divinity and who it is that you are, so that you can really flourish. And most people don't realize that when you're in that state, you know, we said most people don't care. You could have so much more life. So much more life if you begin to walk into that vein of caring. Into that vein of choosing, you know, different. You'll have so much more life. I would love for us to be able to have more people to really expand with and to really talk with. I think that on our Facebook page, I don't know if we need to turn it into a Facebook group, but I think we need to really start seeking and searching for people who are wanting the same things that we want.
Yeah.
You know, we can't. It's good we have this podcast, you know, but I think we also need to begin to reach out to people as well.
Yeah, and get connected with like-minded people. Yeah, for sure. I'm with that. Yeah. What do you feel like you've lost on your journey with Divinity?
As this lady said this one day, and it sounds so perfect. Ask me that differently. I didn't get that.
So as you transcend, like, what did you have to disconnect from in order to like go to your next level within your Divinity?
God. We talk about this all the time. That whole like staunch stud thing. I had to, in a sense, like for me, like I had to let go of that because it was not allowing me to truly evolve. And so I came to the conclusion that I am everything and nothing, just everything. And so not being so staunch in my belief that I was only one way. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to let that go. I had to let go of some immaturity. As grown, as old as my butt is, there was some immaturity. There were some things that I had to grow from. Abandonment could look like a lot of different things, you know, depending upon the person, depending upon their perception of what's happening. I'm a person who will be like, you know, I don't care. And I had to really begin to let go of that. I had to let go of the not talking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had to really learn how to communicate. I'm still learning how to communicate. You know, I'm still learning how to communicate. I was born in a house and I love my family. And I believe they love me. I could see, and I don't know where it come from. You know how some families yell at each other? And I don't think that, you know, sometimes people don't realize that's what they're doing. And I was doing that. And then I actually saw it happening. I think I saw my niece one day. She was talking to her friend, and the way that she was talking to him, I know she loved him and she cared for him, but the way she was talking to him, it just ain't sound right. And I said, you do the same exact thing. That don't sound right. And so I had to let that go. I had to really let that go, and I had to think about it as I spoke. Because sometimes being a Scorpio, you just talk. You know? People have called me straight up no chaser.
Straight up no chaser. Boy.
And that, you know, wasn't trying to be like no chaser. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to learn to be able to really know who it was that I was talking to too. Some people can handle roughness. You know, although I don't think that I was rough. I think I was just speaking
direct,
and how just very direct. And I think that when it tapped into somebody's spirit, it danced on whatever their little nerves was, and it didn't work out for them. But I realized that I had to be cognizant. You know how we say read the room? Yeah. I had to read the room to see what type of person that person was. Could they handle me being direct? Or did I need to put some sugar on that shit? You know what I'm saying? And at the time, you know, I'm like, oh my God, like I shouldn't have to be able to do that. But then again, you know, if you ever trying to help people, you're not trying to hurt them at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of stuff that I, you know, had to let go of, you know, in order for me to get to the space of where I am right now. You know what I mean? And I still, I still sometimes, sometimes I fail. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie and say, I hit the nail on the head 10 times out of 10. Sometimes it depends on what's like really happening. I have to really center myself and be like, okay, today, like if I'm rushing, like I got up this morning and you was up late last night and then you overslept or whatever, and you didn't get a chance to like really get into your day, like meditate and and do all those things because whatever happened, and so now you all like this, it could cause you to misstep. You know what I'm saying? This is why it's very, very, very important for you to make sure that you're getting enough rest. It's I'm real stingy with my energy. I'm real stingy with my energy. If I happen to, like right now, I have Snapshot on my phone, so I can't listen to podcasts or I can't listen to YouTube or whatever. So I've been listening to the radio and I have to turn that off. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I know.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. And the way people think, like, it's just crazy. And the songs, and I'd be like, people be listening to this and then wonder why they breaking up with their significant other. This is crazy. When I hear words that do not coincide what I want for my life, I will change the channel.
Immediately. I was watching YouTube last night and I don't know, music video was on, and I just, I'm watching it. Drake my boy, like, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't watched videos in a long time, and this video was so demonic. And I was like, people really do sit up here and just watch this all day. Like, you know what I'm saying? The injustice. And it's like, however they got it, it's like clip, 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 clip. Somebody getting stabbed, somebody getting hugged, somebody getting...
What?
Yes, it was like very demonic. And so I was like, damn, I was like, kids who don't have no barrier, like you know what I'm saying? They taking all of this in, and then you wondering why schools getting shut up. You wondering why the lift, like, somebody sent me something, because, I do Uber. I'm like you. Don't send me no negative news. I don't need that in my vibration to attract to somebody, operating out of fear. Send me something like, well, look at this story. Lyft lady got shot in the back of her head. Just by a passenger, took away from her 2 kids. I said, don't send me. Like, I'm so serious. Like, don't send me this. I've been doing this for however many years. I'm fine. I'm here. I ain't had no problems. Like, you know what I'm saying? I set my point of attraction, and we're going to have a good run with this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't come send me this shit. And so, I get you. Like, for real. You got to be stingy with your energy.
Yeah, I'm real stingy.
It be all over the place.
Yeah, because this stuff is crazy. The songs that these people be singing, and people be singing it with them like, do y'all know what y'all are saying?
Nope.
Okay, so for my birthday, my partner we went to Seattle. We went to this Jessie Reyez concert. And at first we were sitting there, and when she came out, it was, I don't know what song she was singing, but I was like, oh my God, everybody in here gonna kill themselves tonight. You know what I mean? Like,
what was she singing?
I don't know what. I don't know her like that. But what she was singing when she came out, I'm thinking everybody in here is gonna kill themselves. You have to really be careful when you on certain platforms. Now, don't get me wrong. The rest of the songs when she was singing, you could tell that she is evolved. Like, there's some things happening with her. But these might have been some older songs from the, I don't know.
When she first got started.
Yeah. So, and of course, she has to sing those songs because most of her fans know those songs. You know what I'm saying? But I'm so tapped into wanting to be at a certain frequency that when something don't sound right, and I couldn't really leave, my partner paid for it, so we sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, like, what is happening?
Like, I appreciate this,
but it got better. It got better, but it's still, when you are in these spaces of when you have platforms and things like that,
you gotta be very conscious of the energy that you're transmitting.
Conscious of that energy.
And it's crazy because like this just happened to me 2 weeks ago when I did Jazz Black event. I'm so used by being on the slam team by writing poems of trauma because they win me slams, which gets me money, and then I'm praised for my trauma. And so you get stuck in that cycle. You get stuck in that loop, and people relate to you more so in your trauma than they do on a higher frequency, like, you know. And so, of course, I had like all my poems in my arsenal or whatever, and I really wanted to show up for my friend because this was a big event for her. It was her first film, like, you know what I'm saying, release festival, all that. And I know that we got on the slam team together, and she was kind of expecting me to bring that energy, like, you know what I mean. And so where she still gave me the room, she was like, do whatever you want, I trust whatever you're gonna bring to the stage. I wanted to bring what was most effective, like, you know what I mean. And so I had Father's Day poem, and so it's a really deep poem, and although it is very true for me, like, you know, I was practicing the night before, and I had ended up telling my grandma, she was like, what you gonna do? I was like, we're doing Father's Day and I'm gonna do Mother's Day, something I just wrote or whatever. And so my aunt didn't come, my dad didn't come or whatever, which was cool because I didn't want to really, I didn't need no energy throwing me off from my performance, like, you know what I'm saying. So that was good for me or whatever. And so the night before the event, God made my heart feel convicted about doing that poem. I was like, right now?
There's only a few hours left.
I was like, and then something came to me. It said, don't let your pain and your anger compromise your integrity as a person. And I was like, And so I was like, so what should I do, God? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I ended up switching the poem or whatever, but and then I just felt so much better the next day, like, you know what I'm saying, when I didn't do that poem, like, you know what I'm saying. And so for me, you know, I always, as an artist, I was like, you know, you got to be true to you, like, you know what I'm saying, not your crowd, right? And so I would always walk in that pain, like, this is my story, this is the story I got to tell, whatever, like, you know what I'm saying. But for me, my grandma was in the crowd, my mama was in the crowd, my other family was in the crowd, and it was like, do you want to paint this picture, put his business out there, paint this picture of him, like, you know what I'm saying, people might not even notice about him, like, you know what I'm saying, and because you so stuck in this traumatic cycle, like, you know what I'm saying, you gonna use this platform to put his head on the guillotine, like, you know what I'm saying, for whatever reason, after all these years of doing it, it just didn't feel right. You know what I mean? And so you really do have to be like, and I was like, you know, I don't think I'm going to, now it's like I want my work to transition into ways that can help people. So if I pull that poem out my arsenal, it won't be on such of a bigger platform, but it'll be, if I'm in a workshop or if I'm dealing with some youth that's going through those things, then cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? But just doing it just to get off.
For you.
Like, I'm just, it really hit. Thank you, Tribe. It really, you really do got to be, you know, cognizant of the energy that you putting out there.
And most people don't know that they need to move to a different energy until sometimes people show them. You know what I'm saying? So with you showing up and being able to show, okay, you're right. Like, I've been gone to, you know, poetry events, and it's a whole lot of, like, trauma, like you said, you know, it's a whole lot of trauma. It's like, okay, anything good happening? Did anything good happen? Like, what's up? Can we get some good stuff? But I think that people believe that consciousness or elevation does not get the claps and the praise. That means that you're in the wrong room if they don't. That just means that you're in the wrong room if it does not.
It really do. You heard, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right. You know who Toby in with? I went to his concert when he came here a couple years ago. I don't know what they do before they come out on stage. The whole crew essence was just like divine. It was like he didn't use one cuss word. and every song that he rapped about, it you could relate to it on that gorilla energy,
Mm-hmm.
but all of his everything was uplifted. Like you,
Mm-hmm.
like left there feeling empowered. Like you really can blend the two
Mm-hmm.
together. And I was like, I love this artist, man. Like I love Mr. Toby. And so
Mm-hmm.
like I don't like yeah.
I've loved him since this one song that he I think he was working with E.T. the hip hop preacher
Mm-hmm.
when he first started. And I forget the name of the song, but I played that mug over and over and over again. And I kept saying, he gonna really be like great. He gonna really be great. Next few years, look at him.
Yep. You gotta be in the right room.
And I love that his family first.
Yep.
And so if his wife and his children can't go, ain't nobody going.
Yeah.
And so that's amazing to be able to be in that space. But he had to make his life that way.
Yeah.
We have that same ability to do that. People will look at other people that have that divine nature, that divine spirit, and will have envy over that instead of getting it for yourself.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Get your own.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know, you are divine. Tap into your own self, your own divinity,
Yep.
you know? So how, if you were to tell people how to tap into their own divinity, what would you say to them?
I would say, because this just happened for me too, that video you tagged me in about the numerology, and I found out some new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to the guy, do your numerology, get into your chart, find out who you are at your core, like, you know, and use that as a guiding map. You know, because that's going to show you your gifts, that's going to show you your purpose, like, you know what I'm saying, and you can be more targeted in your energy, and really, I would say, get a therapist, you know, to unlock from the patterns and the dysfunction and the trauma, like, you know what I'm saying, so you can get some new perspective. Also, study, you know, study God's word, study, and now I'm not talking about, like, religion, I'm talking about really study God's words, get into like the principles of life, understand like how the cycles of life like really happen, so how you and where you fit into that, you know what I'm saying, getting to understand seasons, because it get hard to let go of what was, like I'm saying, you do get trapped in that, like, you know what I'm saying, but tapping into, don't be afraid to get by yourself, you know what I'm saying, that's when you gonna hear God the most, like for real, and just really being open to understanding that God is within and not without. Like, you know what I mean? That's where it's really going to come from. You know, the word, not the Bible, but truth, I should say. Study. You have to study. You know, seek and thou shalt find, because how you going to elevate if you don't educate?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got intuition, you know what I mean, as a guiding light. But if you not, okay, so let's go to, and I'm speaking from a perspective of just feminine energy, because women are we're more stronger on the spiritual plane, men more stronger on the physical plane, but both of us have both polarities. But so men not so, for the men who listen to this, not so intuitively guided, you know what I'm saying, if they not tapped into their feminine polarity, you know what I'm saying, so I would tell them like, soften up, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
just a little bit. It ain't gonna hurt you.
You ain't gonna be gay.
You ain't gonna be gay. If like, you soften up a little bit
and get into the feelings, you will be led like instinctually, like damn. But when you get that tap on the shoulder or that voice telling you, go listen to this, go read that, go do this,
do it.
You gotta listen to this. You gotta
do it.
What would be your advice?
Pretty much the same. The first thing, you know, I'm always wanting you to tap into your natal chart. You know, that's the first thing for me. I think when you realize that there's something more to you than, you know, what you've been kind of portraying, I think the first thing to do is really to get your natal chart, you know, and to begin to study it, or have somebody, you know that is an astrologer that might be able to like walk you through it, to help you open up some things about yourself, because a lot of things that happen within our lives, we keep repeating them because we don't know.
Yeah.
You know, we're not really tapped into ourselves, so we don't know. And when you look at your natal chart, it's going to tell you all those struggles that you have, and basically why. You know, and give you the hints on how to fix those things as well. So I'm going to tell you to do that. I'm going to tell you to figure out what your life path is, numerology, all of that, because in color therapy, there's so much I can really go into to tell you guys what to do. These are things that you really need to tap into, you know. But first, you got to know who you are, because if you don't know who you are, all the other stuff that you like packing on is just gonna be, and it's surface level. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to build a foundation of who you are. This is how you tap into your divinity, is by finding out who you are. That's the foundation for everything. So everything else that you learn to put on top of those things, you know, will help you. But if you don't get that basics of knowing who you are, there's no way, you know. So you have to do that. You must do that, you know. So all the stuff that Phoenix said, but then, you know, that astrology too. Like, you really got to get into that, you know. Really got to get into that. Because that's telling you exactly who you are. And then some people don't realize too that they've been living in certain spaces, like the Midwest, and that's not a good place for you. And then you're wondering why you can't elevate, or you're having troubles, because that's not your destination, or that's not your I forget what the word I was going to say, but that's not where you're supposed to be. Maybe you're supposed to be southwest, so maybe you're supposed to be, or you know, maybe you're supposed to be east, you know, in the southern part of the eastern part of the country. You know what I'm saying? There are certain places that you're supposed to be, and people don't realize that. But when you're really digging into yourself and who you are, you begin to learn these things. You'll know exactly where it is that you're supposed to be. So that's my thing.
Yep.
That's what I say.
So it's so simple.
It is. It's simple. You know, the steps are simple, but a lot of the things are hard because we've been programmed a certain way, and so we have to begin to let go of that programming. And if we don't let go of that programming, I mean, you're just going to keep repeating the same things over and over and over. But again, I'm not going to lie and say it's easy. It's not. You know, some things are easy. You be looking at it. If you could look at the people that are around you, because they are mirrors, and if you could see something that you do, you'd be like, oh no, I ain't never doing that. I'm good on that. I'm real good on that. But it's the things that are like really deep within you that you don't want to let go of. And those are the hardest things, but you have got to let go of them. Once you are able to let go of those things, I'm telling you, your life gets so much better. But it's that treading that water first.
Yep, just get started. Just get started. Yeah.
So you think that's it?
We'll bring you more.
We'll bring you more.
Definitely.
As we're growing, you know, as we're going. Well, I'm going to challenge, you know, anybody who's listened to this podcast to do something different. Do something different to change your life in just a small way. Something that you do know that you do that can be done differently, and you know that it'll have an effect on your life. Do it. I'm going to challenge you guys to do that.
Be the energy that you want to see in the world.
And if whatever that energy is that you want to see in the world, that Phoenix is saying that you need to be, anything that does not coincide with that, don't do it.
Nope.
Don't do it. So every time when something happens, you say to yourself, does this, or you're about to experience something and you have a choice, ask yourself, does this align with the vision that I have for my life? And if it does not align with the vision that you have for your life, don't do it. Don't do it. Well, we thank you guys for listening.
It's been real.
It's been real as always.
We'll be back on another Sunday, y'all. Peace.
Thanks for listening to today's show. You can watch the show on our YouTube channel or listen in every first and third Sundays at 12 p.m. on all major podcast platforms.